Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Grand Tactician The Civil War, where we are playing the Union career mode. Last episode we got promoted to Major General and we also suffered a costly defeat at Manassas Junction. Currently we start to prepare for Confederate attack while we are recovering. And hopefully we will soon get offered command of an entire army. Otherwise we might use our influence to get this command ourselves. We can see that some of our units are still holding up around the Manassas Junction area, but this is a very bad idea as the Confederates have complete manpower advantage over our forces. We are in the meantime trying to build up this fort in the area. If we get it up and running, Alexandria and to a bigger part Washington would be protected from this and from this road, giving our forces some time to react if our capital comes under attack. And we have received the news that the current election is getting prepared. The 38th US Congress has to be chosen and currently the Democratic support is rising. Lincoln is in desperate need of a victory and Oregon votes Republican. And in international news we have heard about the Treaty of Saigon. The French Empire is expanding as the French influence increases. The Coke China campaign is concluded and Saigon remains in French hands. And our fort is about to be up and running in 8 days. We can see that some of their forces are relocating to the north and I need to slow down time, as it looks like they are about to attack us. Forest Division is marching to the north. And we are now once more under direct attack of the enemy. They are bringing in total 19,500 soldiers, 1,300 cavalrymen and 26 artillery pieces to the field. We on the other side have officially 35,300 soldiers, 2,700 cavalrymen and 71 guns. On paper, an easy victory. Today is June 9th, 1862. Our scouts report the enemy is near Manassas Bridge, Virginia, and our army is to prepare for battle. We are facing the Army of the Potomac under command of Maxcy Gregg with strength of some 7,000 men and 10 guns. The enemy army is battle experienced and the morale is reported to be eager. Reports indicate their supply situation is outstanding. The supply state of our army is outstanding as well. Our objective is to hold the important position around Centralville. The best way to defend our position would be to fortify positions alongside the Warrington Turnpike, as this is the best route for the enemy advance. The battle can begin and I'm happy to show you our positions. Our militia brigade has fortified over here and I'm happy to report that the 3rd New Jersey State Militia is back with now almost 800 soldiers. Over on this side we have taken command of the 3rd Brigade. They are going to hold our center, while the New Jersey Brigade is going to hold over here. And also the 41st New York Infantry is back in our ranks. Our artillery is guarding behind us. For a moment I'm going to send some of our cavalry back to make sure that we can get at least a little bit of the prestige that is waiting for us in the combat zone. And we need to hope that those soldiers do not blob up and return to our lines. Over here we can see that the enemy is on the move. They have some strong regiments. And right now it looks like the best decision is to get the enemy to come to us. And we can now see that the battle is starting to begin. The Department of Pennsylvania has not decided to retreat back to our main line and they have also not built up a good cohesive battle line. Let's just hope that the Confederates are going to mostly bypass them, so that they can get into their flanks. We could try to take over this entire corps. But if possible, I would like not to interfere with those soldiers too much. The 2nd South Carolina is charging up and they are now hit by a massive volley. They've taken 18 casualties so far. And should be broken within an instant. But there the rest of the Confederate army is starting to arrive. Some of forces are over here and are trying to flank, and we can see that the first Confederate forces have arrived on our battle lines. And despite the clear advantage that our fortifications offer us, the Union forces have decided to engage them head on. They truly never learn. Let's get our men moving. And we can see that apparently no one is going to attack this section over here. We ordered to engage the enemy. And I'm going to get the 41st New York down here. They're going to be needed soon, I believe. I'm also going to get the 2nd down. The rest of our forces can, for now, stay behind as a defensive line. Some of our skirmishes are starting to open up on the enemy flanks, and the 2nd South Carolina should be withdrawn soon. The 2nd New Jersey State Militia is coming up on the enemy flank. Come on, man, you are almost there. Now, open up on the 2nd South Carolina State Militia. You have the flank of those units exposed, and they are a battle experience unit. Their losses are going to hurt the enemy. We can see that more enemy forces are approaching. Let's try to get the 1st down here as well, but in a way that is not going to get them killed. Wonderful. This is what I want to see. We might be able to drive them back with a couple good flanking maneuvers. Our skirmishers are doing their job. Very good. And this detachment can move up on this regiment. More enemy forces are coming up. Is our artillery able to open fire? Yes, they are. These guns are ordered to fire on artillery, but none is currently there. Therefore, they can open fire at will. And this battery can also shift around. Some skirmishing detachments are falling back. And the 2nd New Jersey is still able to hit the enemy. The 2nd South Carolina is now starting to run out of ammunition, and they've taken over 150 casualties. We can see that the 1st Texas Cavalry is coming up. We need to keep a close eye out on that. And we can see here that our soldiers are starting to rush over the stone bridge. Let's hope that these men are not going to throw away their lives completely unnecessary. The majority of the enemy seems to be deployed. Let's get those skirmishers from Pennsylvania forward and hit those men while they are still on the field. I want the 27th and the 29th Pennsylvania to hang back for the moment. And I want them to engage once the majority of the enemy is starting to attack. Our next target is the 55th Virginia, a rather large regiment. Over here we have the 17th Mississippi and the 6th Louisiana. And we can see that this detachment was driven back. Von Gelser's detachment can advance towards the enemy. I want them to open fire on the men from Mississippi. And enemy artillery has made it to the field. There are our parrots. and they are out of range to hit enemy guns. Well, not the worst thing that could happen, but I would have loved to silence those artillery pieces. Over here the fight seems to be shift towards the Confederates' favor, and down here our soldiers are so blocked up that it's hard to make out how the situation actually is. Still, more reinforcements are trickling onto the field. Let's get these men from the Pennsylvania Regiment forward, and these men are going to hold their backs. Over here the Kentucky Brigade is making sure that we cannot get outflanked, and the 3rd also needs to move down. Our freshmen from the 3rd New Jersey Militia are going to see contact, as I'm ordering them forward now. And these men from the 1st can also start hitting the enemy flanks. After that, they will have to start moving on our main line. These detachments can move forward. And we are starting to drive away the enemy vanguard under heavy casualties. Let's take a look how the fight has been going on so far. So far we have suffered 151 killed, 680 wounded and 203 missing. In total 1043 casualties. On the Confederate side they have 153 killed, 595 wounded and 138 missing. In total 886 men. Meaning that both of our sides have lost about 4% of their corps. Over here, this detachment wants to get back to their parent unit, even though they were not ordered to do so. Some more detachments are rushing out, and we can see that the enemy is starting to dig in alongside this river line. Once we have dealt with those soldiers, I want our skirmishers to hit the enemy artillery if possible. I wonder where their skirmishers are. There they are. I want them to march down here. They might be able to hit their guns already. And so far we haven't taken a lot of casualties. 1 or 2 men and a couple skirmishers. 17th Mississippi has taken over 100 casualties. The 6th Louisiana has taken 52. And in a short time they should break. The pressure is increasing and we can see that the 2nd Tennessee is coming up together with the 1st Arkansas. And over here the men from Louisiana are withdrawing. Very good. We are soon going to be targeted by the enemy guns. Let's get a Napton's detachment forward to if possible hit the Lynchburg artillery. Over here our men are still battling it out with the men from Louisiana, and now the 17th Mississippi is coming up again. I want the 1st New Jersey to, if possible, open fire on these soldiers, while the rest of us are going to drive away the enemy. This way we might be able to drive it to buy a little bit more time for our soldiers attacking the Lynchburg battery. And we're going to send the 3rd New Jersey Militia forward. High command from the militia commander can get forward, and the 2nd can now also move up to the enemy. The men from Pennsylvania are about to get attacked. The 28th Virginia is moving forward. Von Gelser's detachment also move up. And the 41st New York can move forward. The 4th New Jersey State Militia can hang back for the moment. And I have the feeling that I've lost eyes on one of our units from Pennsylvania. The Lynchburg battery has suffered 7 casualties. They're down to 1 artillery piece, but a Napton's detachment is about to be driven back. Over here, some more men from Pennsylvania are starting to hit the enemy. Very good. Scotland's detachment is starting to open fire. And the 2nd is opening up on the 6th Louisiana. The 1st still needs to hit the 2nd Alabama. And yes, over here fresh reinforcements are arriving. I want to send them over the river to outflank the Lynchburg artillery. Some of our men are running low on ammunition. And the Union forces in our rear are currently not moving. 1st Brigade, you are with me now. Let's get this attack going. Come on, man, move forward. And the 3rd New Jersey Militia can now hit the enemy. Some enemy forces are there to stop us. And I hope that we can get support to these men quickly. They are freshly replenished and I do not want to have them to suffer too many casualties. There's von Gelser. He is starting to open up on the enemy. Over here, the men from Pennsylvania need to attack. 41st also open up on the 28th Virginia. And the 29th Pennsylvania is starting to withdraw. And we have routed the Lynchburg artillery. Very good, very good. We now have a unit on the enemy flank. And we can see that the 1st Texas has started to lie down. We can see that the 6th Alabama is trying to get forward. And over here reinforcements are arriving. Very good. These men I want to set up over here. What guns do they have? They have 10-pounder Parrots. They can stay where they are. And they can fire at will. How's the situation up here looking? The 28th Virginia is still on the field and the 49th Virginia is also here. The 27th Pennsylvania is taking the majority of the hits, while the 41st is hitting the enemy infantry. We still have some soldiers in reserve. And the 2nd New Jersey can come up here to support our fight. The 3rd is taking more and more casualties. I'm going to order them to fall back under fire. Reinforcements are coming up, but they only have the Springfield musket. Over here some have the Springfield rifle musket. A very good tool. And these men also need to move forward. Let's avenge our fallen brothers in the last battle that we fought here. These men can fall back a little bit. Scotland's detachment is still on the field, and we can see that the 2nd New Jersey State Militia only suffered 1 casualty. The men from Pennsylvania are a nervous wreck. I'm going to order them backwards. And over here, these men are about to break. Let's also get them back. The 27th unfortunately routed, but the 41st New York is still on the battlefield. I am going to order them to fall back, however. Artillery fire is getting a lot more intense over here. And the 28th Pennsylvania needs to move up. They also need to send out their skirmish line. 3rd New Jersey would be our last reserves on this section. 3rd New Jersey is about to falter under pressure. I'm going to order them to fall back once more. And they start to significantly threaten our flank. The 1st North Carolina is here. Gentlemen, open up on them. I want this unit gone. And looks like we are fighting the Confederate army alone. Over here, fighting has grown to a standstill. Still a massive blob of fire over here. Still some Union soldiers holding up over here. And I wonder how long we can hold them on this riverbed. We are starting to get outflanked. I think it might be wise to start pulling our soldiers backwards. I want this brigade to retreat further over here. After that we can easier retreat back behind our defensive line. The 3rd New York is falling back to deliver some flanking fire. And the militia brigade also needs to fall back over here. And they need to do that quickly. We're giving up some parts of our field, but it is going to be worth it. This man from the New Jersey infantry need to fall back. I'm going to send them straight into our main line. Over here Van Geser's detachment is about to be driven back. And Van Geser himself is nervous. Let's order him to retreat. And the 28th Pennsylvania needs to form up over here. There's the 41st routed. And the 26th Pennsylvania also needs to fall back. I want these men to fill the trench over here. This way we should have the majority of our soldiers out of harm's way. And hopefully this massive force of Union soldiers is going to start to do something. Once we have successfully withdrawn, we are going to man our defenses and then we hopefully can destroy the enemy. Over here the 3rd needs to deliver some cover fire so that our soldiers can more effectively fall back. Just a couple volleys. And we can see that some detachments are picking up the fight again. Come on, 3rd New Jersey, open fire, open fire. Yes, the 55th is now outflanked. They are trying to get out of this situation. And the commander of the militia brigade needs to get back. The 3rd New Jersey can now also retreat. Let's hope that we are not getting outflanked anywhere. They're not coming from this road, meaning that I can free up these soldiers from Kentucky. And their skirmishers. We have received news that Colonel William Neptune is wounded and his men are now routed. Very unfortunate for us. We need to give out new orders for the militia brigade. Our men have been ordered on defensive ground, and with this I hope to stop the enemy onslaught and to give all soldiers the option to rest. Some of them are now starting to withdraw. They're also trying to reform their ranks, and we can see that more Confederate soldiers are charging up to our lines. Over here the 28th is back in action together with the 3rd New Jersey Infantry. I want these men from Pennsylvania out once more. They're also going to send out their skirmishers. Maybe we can hit this isolated unit. The 41st is back in action. I want them over here. The Confederates are on our flank and they're completely unexposed. The 28th Virginia is taking some artillery fire, but that's about it. And I do not want to suffer another defeat here. We had the numerical advantage. 1st Texas is opening fire, the 2nd New York is withdrawing under fire, the 39th New York is still here. Let's make sure that they also fall back under fire. And we're now starting to outflank the 28th Virginia. I want the detachment from Kentucky to also move up and to hit the enemy in the flank. Over here it looks like a unit of us is about to rout or about to recover. The 3rd New Jersey militia is still on the field after they have lost their commanding officer. The 2nd is now withdrawing and we are trying to get these artillery pieces out. They've only taken 7 casualties, but that was almost enough to rout this battery. And the 2nd New Jersey is also starting to rout, but they have also been ordered to withdraw. Come on man, just keep on moving, you're almost out of it. Come on man, attack them. And apparently a detachment from Pennsylvania is trying to grab some artillery pieces, but we should be able to now hit the 28th Virginia in the rear and on the flank. The day is starting to get to a close and we can see that some artillerists are trying to run away. And these artillery pieces are now also routed. The force is now back on the field. Make it to our defensive line. Come on. And apparently these men were able to capture some artillery pieces. Nice work. We are still hitting these soldiers from Virginia. They have taken over 100 casualties, but they're unwilling to budge. And we are still hitting them in the rear, but it doesn't seem to do much. And still the Confederates have massive amounts of reinforcements, while our lines start to thin out. I'm just happy that we were able to man back our defensive positions. We have done a lot of damage in this first day of fighting. Taos detachment is here. They can get out once more, and the 41st New York has reformed their ranks. Let's get them on defensive ground. Over in this section we can still see a massive blob of soldiers that are now all wavering. And over here we have been repelled from this stone bridge, meaning that unless we are going to retreat from the field tonight, we are going to have all of these soldiers at our doorstep tomorrow. Let's now once again start to do some limited pushes, and it looks like we were able to rout this unit. Very good, very good. Some more enemy soldiers are routing over there. There's the 1st North Carolina Cavalry coming up. Let's get these soldiers up and moving so that we can hit the 12th Virginia. Our artillery is doing an amazing job, and the 1st Texas is still on the field. Let's send at least a couple of skirmishes out to get these soldiers. Maybe we can at least inflict a couple of casualties on them. We are starting to make contact. Very good. Let's get them. Over here another detachment is starting to enter the battlefield, and the enemy is bringing up a huge amount of artillery. These men from Kentucky need to move, otherwise they are completely blocking our field of fire. And we are inflicting a lot of damage to the enemy. Von Steinwehr's detachment so far was unwilling to attack, even though we gave the order. Well then, 29th New York, move out. And apparently there's a certain amount of disobedience between those soldiers. Tao's detachment is about to be driven back and the enemy is sending out many more soldiers. Soon we will have to fall back from this position. The 28th Pennsylvania is still on the field together with the detachment from Kentucky. We are inflicting some casualties, but we are now facing multiple regiments. Let's order the men from Pennsylvania to fall back. They should get into the relative safety of these breastworks. We can now only wait until nightfall. 2nd New Jersey State Militia, they're back in action. Let's get them in the trenches. And the regiment von Steinwehr has started to attack. Very good. With that, the 1st Texas should hopefully be driven back and routed. But this is a tough regiment. Ammunition is starting to get low, and I guess the soldiers on the left side of the battlefield have been defeated by now. In the first day of fighting, the militia brigade suffered 271 casualties, while the 1st brigade that we took over suffered 165. The New Jersey brigade suffered 135, and the 3rd brigade suffered apparently 0 losses. Miller Jr.'s detachment is now about to be driven back, and the 1st Texas is still fighting on. They've taken over 100 casualties, and they are a relatively fresh unit. Still, they appear unbreakable. Let's take a look on our casualties. So far we have suffered 537 killed, 2,300 wounded and 667 missing. In total over 3,500 casualties. The Confederates, however, suffered 735 killed, 2,244 wounded and 529 missing, meaning that they've also lost about 3,500 of their men. But while we have lost only 10% of our force, they have lost over 17%. And I hope that our soldiers are now well rested, as I want the 3rd New Jersey Militia to move out again. The same goes for the 39th New York Infantry. Commanders, get back closer to the front line. It is time that we start hitting the enemy again. I want the 4th New York to move out over here. And they're going to get some support by the 1st. With that, we should not only be able to drive back the 1st Texas, but we should also be able to hit the 4th South Carolina and then maybe roll up some of their flank. Unless, of course, the day is about to end. 4th New Jersey, stand your skirmishers out. Make sure that we have a little bit of protection while we are advancing. And over here the 1st can open up on these soldiers. And looks like the 4th New Jersey has found a target and driven back this unit from Virginia. Let's get these men forward. First Texas is still on the field, even though they suffered over 144 casualties. Well, these men are still fighting on, and the 3rd is now also directly hitting the enemy, and there finally these men from Texas are rousing. Come on, man. It is time that we start moving. We are apparently able to outflank the 6th Virginia. They are now also starting to waver. And the 4th can now hit the 17th Mississippi. Over here the 1st can move up on the 4th South Carolina. And the same goes for the 3rd. And for this detachment of skirmishers. Napton's detachment is coming up. They have taken over an artillery piece that I cannot determine what it is. But hopefully they are able to inflict some flanking fire. The 29th New York can now also move up on the enemy flank. We can see that they have taken over some of their lost artillery emplacements, and the 17th North Carolina is holding back here. But as long as they do not move, we have an open range on the enemy flank. 17th Mississippi is out of ammunition and they only have 150 soldiers left, meaning that we outnumber them, and the 3rd New Hampshire is also starting to move on the enemy. First also start moving, and the HQs need to get closer. The same goes for divisional command. We are currently still looking at a minor defeat, and we can see that the 17th North Carolina is trying to get over here. Let's get some men up there. And try to stop their advance. We are about to hit and destroy the enemy flank, and this should not be held back by one single regiment. Over here the 3rd New Hampshire is getting outflanked. They are firing at the 4th South Carolina. At least I would hope so that they would do it. We are starting to fire back, and the 17th North Carolina is in contact with our forces. Come on, man, open fire, open fire. And our artillery detachment apparently didn't capture a gun. Well, that doesn't really matter now. The battle is getting pressed further to the north. The 39th New York Infantry is now in direct contact with the enemy, and the 1st New York Cavalry is taking a casual stroll towards the enemy lines. 29th Pennsylvania, get back out again. And over here the 8th New York also needs to get... Their morale is already pretty shaken. Let's get the 2nd New Jersey Infantry forward. We need some beef on the front lines. And I want these skirmishers to get recalled. This day of fighting has ended. In preparation of this fight, I've taken over multiple of our divisions. And because of that, we now have a lot more soldiers at our disposal. I've not taken over every Union unit, especially because I couldn't find their commanding officers. Over here we have a brigade that is able to hit the enemy flank. Our flank over here has been greatly extended. They can also wheel around if the enemy still is focused to push us from the west. We have a massive artillery line behind our main line. We have multiple regiments over here filling those trenches, and we have a couple regiments over here acting as a forward position. We also have built breastworks over here to help in case that the enemy tries to outflank us, and we have an entire division able to roll up the enemy side. I hope that with this move we have a far better chance to deal with the enemy. If you take a look on this side, there are still some Union soldiers dug in. And the Confederate forces in the area seem scattered. But once this battle begins, the entire situation can change within an instant. And within a single second, many of my hopes and dreams were crushed, as many of our soldiers have left the positions I have previously assigned and now need to be redistributed. But it looks like we still have a strong position and the enemy is not immediately trying to break us, meaning that we might have a chance to get our lines back in order before everything falls apart. We are ordered to support friendly units, and if our friendly units would have followed the orders, they would have all already been in place. I am disappointed, to say the least. Come on, man, move up. We do not have all day. Because, unlike you, gentlemen, I want to win this war. We can see that some Union forces are also pulling up. And over here, this division has luckily stayed in their position. We can now see that the Confederate forces are starting to attack our main line, meaning that I'm going to order this entire division forward. And then we should hopefully be able to outflank them on a massive scale. Let's just hope that our weakened defensive line is able to hold out. Let's hope our men are ready. We have some artillery over here that is able to hit the enemy. And the 17-pounder James are also opening up with the command to fire at will. This should give us an advantage over the advancing enemy. Some Confederate forces are withdrawing, apparently to attack those soldiers that have built up some defensive lines around their previous battleground. And over here the battle is starting once more, but these Union forces are apparently doomed. We're now ordered to engage at will, and some of our Allied forces have deployed skirmishers to rush ahead. And our men are opening fire. Very good. 41st New York, you have some skirmishers that I would like to borrow. I want these men on the enemy flank. These units are ordered to move, but apparently they are not doing so. Come on, man. This should not take so long. And we can see that the 1st Brigade is starting to move up. I have the feeling that after this day is over, there are going to be some discussions within the headquarters. We are able to inflict massive casualties on the enemies as they are trying to outflank our detachments and our entrenched soldiers. Let's get our men forward and into the action. Some enemy artillery is moving up, but we have also some batteries on counter battery fire that should deal with them. And over here the 2nd Division is waiting for orders from God knows who. Can we at least send individual regiments from them forward? Is that a possibility? Well, then the 4th Brigade has to take over their place and need to move up on the enemy. Over here the 2nd New Jersey can rush out. Maybe we can get some hits on the enemy flank this way. What should have been an easy and glorious defensive victory is now starting to turn into a massive slog. Klaus' detachment is going to take some casualties. Front Gilzer is unable to fire. But still we are fighting back this detachment. Over here the 14th North Carolina is rushing against our well-prepared defensive line. And they should suffer as a response. And luckily some of our remaining Union friends have also taken over position over here. And finally this division has started to move. We desperately need those men to attack the enemy. th North Carolina is now coming up. They're getting hit from multiple sides. Ice New York, can you get out skirmishers? No, apparently too close to the action. But then at least shift so that you can hit the enemy. Nope, get back into your position. I didn't want you to leave it, I just wanted you to shift a little. Once this division is in place, we can start moving forward. And over here our safeguard is also arriving. But these men have arrived far too late and can now also immediately push up to the river line. Over here some of our detachments are starting to waver, it looks like. No, it is the 41st New York that was not ordered outside. Let's get those men back. I just want their detachments to fire. Let's get them over here so that they have a clear field of fire on the enemy. And now our fire is really starting to hurt the enemy. Some Union forces are rushing out. And we have routed the 14th North Carolina. 2nd Division is finally making some moves. Very good. If possible, I want this division, if possible, I want the 1st Brigade to move over the river and cut off the enemy retreat line. Second Brigade, move up to the river line. And 3rd Brigade, move up over here. Let's get a good move on, man. And we can see that the 1st Louisiana is taking hits. Von Gelser's detachment is able to open up on a massive force of enemies. Tau's detachment is about to be driven back, but they have delivered some good blows to the enemy. Over here, the 39th New York Infantry is also able to open up on the enemy flank, meaning that we might be able to rout those soldiers. 32nd Pennsylvania is falling back. They have rushed out far too far. Gibbs detachment and counter the enemy. And these men need to start moving. The 4th Brigade is also coming up. I'm going to send them down here. And their divisional commander also needs to move forward. I do not want to send the 2nd Brigade out, therefore their commanding officers on the other side of the battlefield. Tau's detachment is going to reattach within an instant. And over here the 12th North Carolina is withdrawing. They're heavily outflanked. And they might get routed. Now the big question is if we want to press the attack forward or if we want to retreat into the relative safety of our main battle line until our flanking force arrives to relieve us. First Brigade is starting to cross. 2nd Brigade, get forward. And I also want the 3rd Brigade to push. Over here the 5th Brigade is now also starting to move up. Let's get them over the river as well. Overall we can see that we now outnumber the enemy on this section of the front line, but many more Confederate soldiers are starting to attack those beleaguered positions that I predict to be lost. Over here the entrenched 4th New Hampshire is battling out with the 23rd Georgia, but they only have 67 soldiers left. After that the 4th Tennessee has 587. And over here another regiment stands idle. And looks like we were able to rout the 1st North Carolina Cavalry. Von Gelser's detachment is now able to open up on the 3rd North Carolina Battery, and the same should go for the 39th New York Infantry. Let's get those men forward and silence those guns for good. And over here our push is finally starting to come together. Let's get up there. I want these men to target enemy artillery. And I'm going to give this order right away. Von Gelser's detachment has successfully routed those artillery pieces. They're down to 4 men. And we can now hit the 6th Virginia, who only have 170 left. Good flanking fire and our artillery should deal them the killing blow. Apparently Ormond's detachment was willing to get outflanked, but then at least get forward enough to hit the flank of the 17th North Carolina. 9th Maine open up on the 1st Texas. The same goes for the 6th Massachusetts. And the 4th Illinois can hit enemy guns. 20th New York State Militia move forward on the enemy artillery. Over here our men are starting to get across. Division in command, keep up. 5th Brigade, keep up. Very good. We have now turned this fight into a minor victory. You can see that Sloan's detachment is now starting to get fire, but so far they haven't taken casualties. The Gibbs detachment is about to be repulsed. 1st Rhode Island engage the enemy. 2nd New Hampshire also closely distanced. 1st Vermont, you can hang back for the moment, and the 17th North Carolina has to be targeted by the 16th New York Infantry. Maryland battery set up over here. And the 17th Massachusetts is going to cover you. So these artillery pieces need to set up over here. Over there. And this detachment I want it over here. Let's get some more manpower on the field. Come on, man, come on. And these soldiers are struggling to get over. The 2nd in New Jersey is one of our units. I want them to stay back if possible. And we can see that some units over here have also started to move. These are apparently part... These units are apparently part of the 3rd Division that I have carelessly sent over here with the general movement order. Well, and now they're going to pan out the battle line over here. Come on, man, let's get a move on. Von Gazel's detachment still needs to open up on the enemy, and we can see more batteries coming up. The 3rd Texas battery is coming up with 3 artillery pieces and 45 soldiers. Come on, man, move forward. And if in doubt, just attack. Over here we can see that Sloan's detachment has taken 10 casualties and the 1st Texas has taken over 203. North Carolina is now also about to waver. They've taken 53 casualties. They are a large brigade. They are a large regiment. But with the overwhelming force of our forces, they stand no chance. Let's get new movement orders out for those soldiers. And the 17th North Carolina should be driven back shortly as well. Very good, very good. Multiple enemy units are now driving away. Let's get this entire brigade forward. Over here, these units also need new orders. Let's get them up here. And we now have open season on this retreating units. Come on, man, hit them and hit them good. Those of you who aren't in range, move up. And we can see that the enemy is blobbing up around this position. Let's get von Gilser's detachment forward, together with the men from Pennsylvania. And these New Yorkers. And we have now inflicted a major defeat on the enemy. At the beginning of this battle, it wasn't looking like we could achieve it. And the fight is far from over. The enemy is now starting to waver, but we want to hurt them a little more. Very good, we can now see mass routes from the enemy. Let's send in our cavalry in pursuit. Sixth Louisiana is still on the field. They've taken over 160 casualties. Very good. I'm very happy how this battle turned out, even though many of the casualties were absolutely avoidable. Some enemy soldiers are still on the field, and not all of them are willing to give up. Let's close the distance and see how the casualties are looking for now. In total, we have suffered so far 5,300 losses, while the enemy suffered 5,900 casualties, meaning that we have lost 14% of our units, while the enemy suffered 28% casualties. But many of those losses on our side were completely avoidable. And now the enemy is officially in retreat. They're trying to get away. Let's at least hit them a little bit more. Our cavalry is rushing in. I hope they're not going in with the cold steel. And we'll start to overwhelm them at all sections. Our cavalry is taking some hits, however. Let's get them forward to hit the artillery detachment. And von Gilser's detachment can move forward now. Von Gilser still doesn't like us. And I think our reputation is never going to recover, even though I have led him to countless battle growers. Very good fire. If possible, hit those soldiers that are on the retreat. Yes! Get forward, man, get forward. And we can see the entire HQ flocking away. Let's charge down the 6th Louisiana if we can. And make some prisoners. Nice job, man, nice job. And we have now achieved another major victory. In total, the Confederates suffered 6,100 casualties, while we had 5,400. And after we have been defeated in the previous battle, we now stand triumphant. We have achieved a glorious victory at the Manassas Bridge, and the Army of the Potomac is fleeing in a panic. Major Schweitzer loses face and Captain Davidson also loses face. The support for rebel cause wavers. But this has to be it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until we meet again, I wish you all a great time.